Do you know, as I was walking up, I was thinking to myself, I'm going to wish them good morning, and it's going to be most likely just Robbie that says good morning back. Because most of the time, so the first time, it's usually just Robbie, maybe a couple others. But it's usually the second time people say good morning back. So I thought if I told you that, maybe more people would say good morning. But that begs the question, like, are you saying it because you feel obligated, or do you genuinely want to wish me good morning? I'll say it, good morning, church.
Morning!
That's so great, I feel so good about myself. Wow. Good morning, guys. I forgot what I was going to say next. Yeah. Thanks, guys. Who's had a good week so far? Awesome. I've had a really great week. I got to spend a little bit of extra time with God in preparation for researching all this stuff, which is always great. I got to spend a little bit extra time with my girlfriend, which is always a nice thing. Yeah. And more importantly, I think the coolest part is I got to spend a little bit of extra time with our church at our small groups on Wednesday and Friday. And something I really appreciated, I've never been part of a church that does this in this way, is that we're so open. I love the way that we do our small groups. Zanita led out this Wednesday and Friday. It was your first time, second time? First time. We'll go with first. It was the first time. She did a really good job. Something I admired about what she did was just, she encourages an open environment. She encourages people to be as open as they can, and she's patient with it. I really appreciate that. I need to learn that much more. But it was just really good. I ramble quite a bit. So during my ramblings, people don't really seem to be condescending or really negative. Maybe they're thinking of it, they're not acting. So I really appreciate that. If you would like, we're going to continue our small groups on Wednesday. They've been happening at Steve and Sam's house. They've been really great. They've been really great for providing us a place. So, please feel free to come. And we have a Friday night study too. We call it Friday Night Fun Times. And we're going through something a little bit different. We're doing series on different things. And yesterday we looked at the many, many claims Jesus makes, the many extraordinary claims Jesus makes, and what evidence he provides for that. Just discerning between is he right, is he wrong. It was great. It was really good to come back to the simple but yet profound truths. And this week, actually, I should click the next slide, shouldn't I? This week is our last Sabbath that we're going to spend on health as a series. This concludes our health series. And what we're going to do is we're going to take a bit of a hiatus, a bit of a break from our series in general, our transformation series. It's going to be a few weeks of something different. And something else that I'd like to implement now, or see who'd be interested in, and we've talked about this before, but we never followed through, but I intend to follow through this time, is paddle pops. Who's heard of paddle pops? Wow, that's so many of us. We're going to bring that back into it, but we're going to do it a little bit differently. We're going to do group paddle pops instead of individual paddle pops. So
what does that mean?
Just going to explain that.
We're thinking of the odds
I'm going to
trade.
explain that. Yeah. So the idea of a paddle pop is that we have these little ice cream sticks, or whatever sticks they are, and we divvy you all up into groups. So say the color green and the color blue, whatever it is. And the intent is that you guys have to catch up that Saturday or sometime during the week. You all have to meet up and just get to know each other, do something fun. Go to like the amusement park or go for lunch at somebody's house. Whatever you want to do, be creative with it. But it just encourages us to get to know each other a little bit differently, at a little bit more of a different level, on a more personable and intimate level. So I think that would be really great. Who would be interested in it if we did that? There's less hands that got raised when I said that. That's interesting. You're all going to do it anyway. Doing it anyway. Sorry?
They're doing it anyway.
Yeah, that's right. I can't make you do it. It's going to be fun though. Give it a try before you shut it down. Give it a try. So during that break, we're going to implement some of these new things. We're going to try to spruce, is that the word?
Yep.
Spruce up the room, the atmosphere, the aesthetic. I'm going to try to see what we can do to just get a little bit more of a homely environment. We're going to change a few things. Sir? Bring some couches. If you feel free to donate your couch, I'll be the first one to sit on it. We're going to do things like that. So we'll take a bit of a hiatus, a little bit of different preaching, a little bit of different church. And then we're going to kick off our next series. It's the relational series. And I'm super stoked. I got a lot of knowing, a lot of growing to do in that. I have a lot of appreciation that we're doing that series. Robbie's putting together a sermon calendar, and I have the privilege of getting a little bit of an insight, a little bit of a sneak peek as to some of the things we'll talk about. And I'm already super stoked. It's going to be so great. So this is the last sermon series, at least on health. I'll tell you exactly what we're going to do today. It's going to be super short, sweet and simple, the way I like it. I might be a bit fast. If I'm going fast, just like tell me to slow down. We're going to look at how your gut affects your brain. It's the two brains we have. We're going to look at our two brains. Then we're going to look at why it's so important for us to know that. And then we're going to look at the story of Daniel. We're going to immerse ourselves in Daniel chapter 1. We're going to make ourselves a part of it. And then we're going to sneak peek into the future of Daniel in Daniel chapter 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So we're going to pretend like we're in Daniel chapter 1, but we're going to look into 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And you're going to tell me what you find. I'm not going to tell you anything in this one, except for a little bit of information. So that's the plan for today. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
That sounds really good. I'm really stoked about it. What we'll start with is a question, however. So you know how the questions work. I'll give you out a question. You guys talk about it, and then we pull all the answers together and see what we find. So the question to start off with is, what impacts do poor diets have? We've been talking about poor diets for the past 4 sermons. We all seem to have this understanding, and what I really want to do is I don't want to provide you with new information. Robbie and I were talking about this. Robbie and I did a training recently, and some of the things we learned from the training were things we knew in our head, but we didn't know that we knew. Does that make sense? So that's what I'm trying to do here. I'm not trying to teach you something new. I'm just going to bring you to the realization that you already have inside of your mind, inside of your heart. So I'm not going to try to preach at you, but I'm more going to try to facilitate something with us together as a group. So when I say what impacts do poor diets have, we already know the negative impacts, but sometimes pondering it really brings it home to reality. So take some time to really talk about maybe your experiences. So take some time to talk about it and just really put yourself in the zone of what impacts does a negative diet have, a poor diet have. So take your time and we'll get back to it soon.